That applause is for you, Alex Anthopolous. You should be commended for not letting the soap opera linger on any longer, and more importantly, you've begun the cleanup process of JP Ricciardi's mess. I mean work, or lack thereof. It's now December 18th, and it's been officially confirmed that Doc Halladay will be leaving the big smoke for the city of brotherly love. Once the dust settles, through a subsequent trade with Oakland Athletics, coming to the Great White North are A1 prospects. All three of them have been first-round picks in the past. Catcher Travis d'Arnaud, corner infielder Brett Wallace, and right-hander and son of former NL Cy Young winner Doug Drabek, Kyle Drabek. Now, this broadcast is to discuss, was this trade worth it? The answer, 2 words, heck yes. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty and dissect this one. Firstly, the dearly departed Mr. Halladay. As my friend Mr. Megatron pointed out, you are the consummate professional on and off the diamond. Your stats are legendary. 148 and 76 lifetime with a 3.43 ERA, Cy Young Award in 2003, and even more impressively, top 5 finish in the Cy Young voting 4 times. Last year, 17 and 10, 2.79 ERA in 32 starts, led the league with 9 complete games. For an offensively offensive Blue Jay squad. Despite your team's futility and front office incompetence, you've always remained classy, man. Given the lack of quality talent you've been surrounded by during your tenure here, you are unequivocally the greatest Toronto Blue Jays hurler of all time. Now, for those of you who want to argue that it's Dave Steve, Jimmy Key, David Cohn, Pat Henkin, Doyle Alexander, Jim Clancy, whoever, feel free to battle me. But Matt Zilla, you know the nickname, the username, let's do this. Okay, so let's face facts, Blue Jays fans. We're not making the playoffs anytime soon. With or without the Doc donning the black, silver, and blue, or the baby blue on home Fridays, which I don't know, doesn't really appeal to me. Anyway, save for the studs like Aaron Hill and Adam Lynn, the Jays rely on guys like Vernon Wells, who's coming off wrist surgery, Lyle Overbay, who they tried to trade in the offseason but unsuccessful, and Randy Ruiz, who's 31. I like Randy Ruiz, but who's 31 and he's never played more than 33 games in a Major League Baseball season. They're relying on these 3 guys for power. Ricky Romero, Sean Markham, and Mark Jepshinski. You have some Polish, so I can pronounce that okay. That's 2 second-year starters and a guy who's coming off Tommy John surgery. Bullpen's questionable. We know the names: Jason Frazier, Brandon Leake, and Sean Camp, probably the worst pitcher in the major leagues. Suffice it to say, this organization is in need of a major overhaul. So to say that the Jays are weak at the catcher position would be an understatement. When kids grow up and become catchers in Pee-wee baseball, they don't aspire to be guys like Michael Barrett, Greg Son, Rod Barajas, Raul Chavez, Sal Fasano. I think you get the point. The Jays were pseudo-proactive in the offseason, bringing in guys like John Buck and Ramon Castro. Needless to say, the backstop position will be another point of deficiency yet again this year. So let's talk about the future. Who's coming down the pipeline? In many minds, there's this kid called JP Ricciardi, who's looked upon as a future everyday catcher and is the Jays' 3rd best prospect pre-Halladay trade in their system. He's got a rocket arm, hits for power. I think he hit about 25 homers last year, but has trouble blocking pitches in the dirt and hit a mediocre 236 in AAA Las Vegas last year. You know what? That's not a real ringing endorsement for my future everyday catcher. I don't think he's the next coming of Pudge Rodriguez or anything like that. That's why the acquisition of Travis d'Arnaud makes so much sense for the Jays. The consensus amongst most baseball pundits is that d'Arnaud will be a 18 to 25 home run man, hit 270 to 285 with power, above average defense, and top quality game management skills, which is an intangible thing. So I'd rather have a guy who's a little more consistent behind the plate, can block some potential pass balls, some wild pitches, and can hit higher than a Greg Zahn, a John Buck, whoever else they've had here in the last 10, 15 years even. So So now let's talk about Brett Wallace. Do you guys remember the days of Kelly Gruber? Remember when he hit for the cycle? I know I'm getting a little nostalgic here, but you know, Kelly Gruber was the last All-Star third baseman this club has had. You know, save for Scott Rowland and Troy Glaus, they're All-Star caliber, but they were brought in as short-term stopgaps for a year or two, and they were past their prime. Jays brought in Edwin Encarnacion last year. I'm not really sold on Edwin Encarnacion. I don't think he's the answer. Sure, he's got some pop in his bat. He hit about 25 home runs a couple years ago, but he hit 236 last year, and I think more importantly, the man's an error machine. I was looking at the stats. He's committed 58 errors in his last, you know, about 2.5 seasons, which isn't good. So Brett Wallace, the scouting report, he's a corner infielder. So mind you, he could play first base or he could play third base. So here he comes to save the day. Brett Wallace's ceiling, some scouts say, is he could be a potential batting champion. Other scouts say he's got an unathletic body and he can't produce home run power. I think last year he put up about 20 home runs, and I think he'll only improve on that. So I'm willing to roll the dice on Brett Wallace. He was a centerpiece of the Matt Halladay trade. And again, if scouts are saying this guy's a potential to be a batting champion, I think you know, it's a good risk to take. So now to the jewel, the gem of the trade, Mr. Kyle Drabek, son of Doug Drabek. The pedigree's obviously there. This guy was basically the reason why the Roy Halladay trade did not go down earlier in the season. Philadelphia was like a dog with their bone. They didn't want to give up Kyle Drabek. But you know, they succumbed to Alex Anthopolous' you know, negotiating talents, and fortunately he is now a Toronto Blue Jay. Kyle Drabek, unfortunately or fortunately, had Tommy John surgery in 2007, and as you guys know, sometimes that makes your arms stronger. Your ability to put a little more zip on that fastball, you know, comes to light. So he basically has the ability at 6 foot, about 185 pound frame, to throw 97 mile an hour fastballs. Has fantastic control. Came back last year after the Tommy John and finished with, I believe it was a 12-3 record with a 3.14 ERA in single and double A. Now, many scouts, it's a major consensus here that he will be the ace of a major league staff within a couple of years. So, you know what? I will take that any day of the week. I will take a guy who's looked to be a future ace, a guy who could potentially be a batting champion, and an everyday catcher that we haven't had in years. Roy Halladay, you know what? You've done a lot of great things for this city. You've been a fantastic ambassador. You've been a class act, and your accolades on the field are, you know, unmatched. But with the lackluster talent we have in our team right now, we're not going to be winning anytime soon. So you know what? Let's build for the future. We got 3 key pieces. You know, even if one, two, and you know, obviously if 3 or 3 pan out, that's amazing. But if 1 or 2 pan out, that's still worth it. So kudos to you, Alex Anthopolous. Keep up the good work. Keep up, you know, cleaning up Mr. Ricciardi's mess. And JP, I hope you're watching this from your couch since you're unemployed now. So just my little take on the Blue Jays and their future. Let me know what you think. Signing off, guys.